What if I told you that someone could control your mind, your emotions, and even your decisions without you noticing? This is exact work of manipulators or evil people. Manipulative people are masters of psychological tricks that can leave you doubting yourself, feeling guilty, and completely under their control. In this video, we're uncovering the 10 most dangerous tactics they use and how you can spot and stop them before it's too late. Stay with me because knowing these tricks could save you from years of manipulation. Give this video a thumbs up. Take your sit and listen to this life-changing wisdom. You will understand how deeply these tricks can mess with your mind and how exactly you can save yourself from this mess. Trick 1. Gaslighting. Gaslighting is one of the most dangerous psychological tricks someone can use. It's all about making you doubt your own memories, thoughts, or feelings. The person who gaslights you may tell you things like, "That never happened," or "You're just being too sensitive." Over time, you start to wonder if they're right, even when you know deep down that something feels wrong. Imagine this. You tell someone close to you that you're upset because they've been ignoring you. Instead of addressing your feelings, they say, "You're imagining things. I always talk to you." They dismiss your concerns and twist the truth so you feel like you're the one overreacting. The reason gaslighting works so well is because it plays on your emotions. It makes you question your own reality. The more it happens, the harder it becomes to trust yourself. You might start feeling confused, anxious, or even helpless. That's exactly what the gaslighter wants, because the more you doubt yourself, the easier it is for them to control you. So how do you protect yourself from gaslighting? The first step is to recognize it. Pay attention to patterns. If someone always denies your experiences or makes you feel crazy for expressing your feelings, that's a red flag. Trust your gut. Write things down if you need to keep track of events. Having written proof of what happened can help you stay grounded. Another way to fight gaslighting is to set boundaries. For example, if someone keeps twisting your words, calmly tell them, "I remember what happened, and I won't let you make me feel like I'm wrong." Don't let them drag you into long arguments where they can confuse you further. Stand your ground. Finally, talk to someone you trust about what's happening. A friend, family member, or therapist can help you see the situation more clearly and remind you that you're not losing your mind. Gaslighting is powerful, but once you know how it works, you can take back control. Now let's move on to the next trick, which is just as sneaky but just as dangerous. Trick 2. Guilt tripping. Guilt tripping is when someone makes you feel bad about something so they can get their way. This trick is especially common among manipulative people because it's easy to make others feel guilty. All they have to do is play the victim or twist the situation so you feel like you owe them something. For example, imagine you tell a friend that you can't help them move because you're busy with work. Instead of understanding, they say, "I guess I'll just have to do everything by myself. It's fine, I'll manage somehow." Their tone and words make you feel like a terrible person for saying no, even though you have a valid reason. The worst part about guilt tripping is that it works on your sense of kindness. Most people don't like the idea of hurting others, so when someone makes you feel guilty, you might give in just to make them feel better. This gives them exactly what they want. Another example is when a parent guilt trips their child by saying things like, "After everything I've done for you, this is how you repay me." This kind of manipulation can make you feel like you owe them, even if what they're asking for isn't fair. So how do you handle guilt tripping? First, recognize when it's happening. Ask yourself if the guilt you're feeling is truly your fault or if someone is trying to manipulate you. If you're unsure, think about the situation from an outside perspective. Would someone else feel guilty in your shoes? Next, learn to say no without feeling bad about it. If someone tries to guilt trip you, calmly explain your decision. For example, you could say, "I understand that you're upset, but I have to stick to my boundaries." It's also important to avoid over-explaining. Manipulative people thrive on long explanations because it gives them more chances to twist your words. Keep your responses simple and firm. Finally, remind yourself that it's okay to prioritize your own needs. You can be a kind and caring person without letting others control you through guilt. Guilt tripping is a tricky tactic because it plays on your emotions. But once you recognize it, you can stop it from affecting you. Trick 3. The silent treatment. The silent treatment is one of the most emotionally draining forms of manipulation. It's when someone deliberately ignores you to make you feel isolated, insecure, or desperate for their attention. The person giving you the silent treatment knows that humans naturally crave connection, so they withhold communication as a way to punish or control you. Imagine this scenario. You have an argument with a friend, and instead of discussing the issue, they stop responding to your calls and texts. Days pass, and you start questioning everything. Did you do something wrong? Should you apologize even if you're not sure why? This internal struggle is exactly what they want. The silent treatment works because it makes you feel powerless. You're left wondering what you did wrong and how you can fix it. Over time, this tactic can damage your self-esteem and make you more willing to comply with the other person's demands just to avoid the discomfort of being ignored. To deal with the silent treatment, it's important to stay calm and resist the urge to chase after the person. Acknowledge that their behavior is manipulative and not a reflection of your worth. Instead of giving them control, focus on your own emotional well-being. Reach out to supportive friends or family members who can help you feel connected and valued. If the silent treatment happens in a close relationship, consider addressing it directly. You might say something like, "I noticed that you've been avoiding communication. If you're ready to talk, I'm open to resolving the issue, but I won't tolerate this behavior." This sets a boundary while also giving them the opportunity to communicate in a healthier way. Remember, the silent treatment is about control. The less you let it affect you, the less power the manipulator has over you. Trick 4. Love bombing. Love bombing is a tactic where someone overwhelms you with affection, compliments, and attention to gain your trust and loyalty quickly. At first, it feels amazing. You might think you've met the most caring, generous person in the world, but behind the kindness lies a hidden agenda. Manipulators use love bombing to create a sense of dependency. They make you feel special and valued, but as soon as they have your trust, the dynamic changes. They might start making unreasonable demands, expecting you to prioritize them above all else. If you don't comply, they may withdraw their affection, leaving you confused and hurt. For example, a romantic partner might shower you with gifts, praise, and constant messages during the early stages of a relationship. They make grand promises about your future together, but later they use these gestures as leverage to control you. They might say things like, "After everything I've done for you, you should be more grateful." Love bombing can also happen in non-romantic relationships, such as with friends or even bosses. A boss might give you constant praise and perks to make you feel indebted, only to later use that goodwill to push you into working longer hours or taking on unreasonable tasks. To protect yourself from love bombing, be cautious when someone's affection feels too intense or too fast. Healthy relationships take time to build, and genuine care doesn't come with strings attached. Look for consistency in their behavior over time. If you suspect someone is love bombing you, take a step back and evaluate the relationship. Ask yourself if their actions are truly selfless or if they seem to expect something in return. Don't be afraid to set boundaries even if it feels uncomfortable. A healthy relationship respects your limits and doesn't pressure you into feeling obligated. Love bombing can be intoxicating, but it's important to stay grounded and recognize when someone's affection is being used as a tool for control. Trick 5. Fear and intimidation. Fear and intimidation are among the oldest tools in the manipulator's arsenal. These tactics work by making you feel unsafe, uncertain, or afraid of the consequences if you don't comply. The goal is to keep you in a state of anxiety so you're more likely to do what they want. Intimidation can take many forms. Sometimes it's subtle, like a boss who uses stern looks or veiled threats to keep employees in line. Other times it's more overt, such as a partner who raises their voice or slams objects during arguments to scare you into submission. One chilling example is when someone threatens to reveal private information about you unless you do what they say. This creates a sense of fear and helplessness, making it difficult to stand up for yourself. Fear-based manipulation is effective because it triggers your fight-or-flight response. When you're scared, it's harder to think clearly or make rational decisions. Manipulators know this, so they use fear to cloud your judgment and keep you under their control. To counter fear and intimidation, start by recognizing that their power lies in your reaction. Stay calm and take a moment to assess the situation. Remind yourself that their threats or actions are designed to manipulate you, not because they have real power over you. If possible, create physical or emotional distance from the manipulator. Surround yourself with supportive people who can help you feel safe and grounded. It's also important to document any incidents of intimidation, especially if they involve threats or abusive behavior. Having evidence can be crucial if you need to take further action. Finally, don't hesitate to seek professional help if you feel overwhelmed or unsafe. A therapist or counselor can provide strategies for dealing with fear-based manipulation and help you rebuild your confidence. Fear and intimidation are powerful tools, but they only work if you let them. By staying calm and standing your ground, you can take back control and protect yourself from these tactics. Trick 6. Triangulation. Triangulation is a strategy where a manipulator involves a third person to create drama, tension, or rivalry. The goal is to divide and conquer, making you feel insecure or competitive. Triangulation is common in relationships, families, and workplaces. The manipulator uses it to pit people against each other, making themselves the center of attention or power. For example, imagine a boss who compares two employees, saying something like, "John always finishes his work faster than you." This creates competition and insecurity, leading to jealousy or resentment. Instead of collaborating, the employees are now focused on outdoing each other, which benefits the manipulator. In personal relationships, triangulation might look like a partner bringing up an ex to make you feel inadequate. They might say, "My ex used to do this better," or "They never complained about this." This tactic makes you question your worth and drives you to seek their approval. Triangulation is effective because it preys on the human need for validation. When someone creates a rivalry, it shifts your focus to proving yourself rather than questioning the manipulator's intentions. How do you protect yourself from triangulation? The first step is to recognize when it's happening. If someone frequently involves a third party to compare, gossip, or stir conflict, that's a red flag. Don't take the bait. Instead, focus on maintaining your boundaries and your self-worth. For instance, if your boss compares you to a colleague, you might respond by saying, "I appreciate feedback, but I'd prefer to focus on improving my own performance rather than comparing myself to others." This shifts the focus back to your individuality and diffuses the manipulator's tactic. In personal relationships, call out the behavior calmly. For example, if a partner mentions their ex to provoke a reaction, you could say, "I don't think comparing me to someone else is helpful or fair. Let's focus on our relationship instead." Triangulation thrives on insecurity and rivalry, but by staying confident and refusing to engage, you can take away its power. Trick 7. Projection. Projection is when someone blames you for their own flaws, mistakes, or insecurities. It's a way for them to avoid accountability and make you feel guilty or defensive. This tactic is often used by people who struggle to face their own shortcomings. For example, imagine a friend who's always late blaming you for being too uptight about time. Instead of admitting their fault, they make you feel like the problem. In relationships, projection might look like a partner accusing you of cheating, when in reality, they are the unfaithful one. Projection works because it puts you on the defensive. Instead of addressing the manipulator's behavior, you end up justifying yourself or questioning your own actions. Over time, this can create self-doubt and make you more susceptible to their control. To counter projection, stay calm and refuse to take the blame for things that aren't your fault. If someone accuses you unfairly, respond with clarity and confidence. For instance, you might say, "That's not true, and I won't take responsibility for something I didn't do." It's also helpful to recognize patterns in the manipulator's behavior. If they frequently project their issues onto others, it's a sign that they're unwilling to take accountability. Keep reminding yourself that their accusations are a reflection of their own insecurities, not your reality. Projection is a sneaky tactic, but once you understand how it works, you can avoid getting caught in its trap. Trick 8. Emotional blackmail. Emotional blackmail is when someone uses your feelings against you to get what they want. It's a tactic that relies on threats, guilt, or fear to manipulate you into complying with their demands. For example, a partner might say, "If you really love me, you would do this for me." Or, "If you leave, I don't know what I'll do to myself." These statements are designed to make you feel responsible for their emotions and actions. Parents often use emotional blackmail on children, saying things like, "After everything I've sacrificed for you, this is how you treat me." This creates a sense of obligation, making it hard for the victim to say no or set boundaries. Emotional blackmail works because it exploits your empathy and sense of responsibility. Manipulators know that you don't want to hurt or disappoint them, so they use your kindness to control you. How can you break free from emotional blackmail? Start by recognizing that their emotions are not your responsibility. Everyone is responsible for their own feelings and actions. If someone uses emotional blackmail, remind yourself that you're not obligated to comply with unreasonable demands. For example, if a partner threatens to hurt themselves if you don't do what they want, respond calmly but firmly. "I care about you, but I can't be responsible for your decisions. You should talk to someone who can help." Setting boundaries is crucial when dealing with emotional blackmail. Let the manipulator know that their tactics won't work on you. For instance, you might say, "I understand that you're upset, but trying to guilt me into doing something isn't fair or healthy." Remember, emotional blackmail is about control. By refusing to let their threats or guilt affect you, you take away their power. Trick 9. Playing the victim. One of the most subtle yet effective tactics manipulators use is playing the victim. They present themselves as helpless or wronged in order to gain sympathy, avoid accountability, or manipulate you into doing what they want. This trick works because most people naturally want to help others, especially those who appear to be struggling. Imagine this scenario. A friend borrows money from you but never repays it. When you bring it up, they say, "You know I'm going through a tough time right now. I can't believe you'd pressure me like this. Don't you care about me?" Suddenly, you feel guilty for even asking, even though you're the one being taken advantage of. In romantic relationships, the victim card might look like a partner who blames all their bad behavior on past trauma. While it's important to empathize with someone's struggles, it's not fair for them to use their pain as an excuse to mistreat you or dodge responsibility. Playing the victim is effective because it shifts the focus away from the manipulator's actions and onto their supposed suffering. It makes you feel like the bad guy for standing up for yourself, even when your concerns are valid. So how do you deal with someone who constantly plays the victim? The first step is to recognize the pattern. Ask yourself, is this person truly seeking help, or are they using their struggles to avoid accountability? If it's the latter, set firm boundaries. For example, if someone uses their hardships to guilt you into giving them money or favors, you might say, "I understand you're going through a tough time, but I can't help you in this way right now." This shows empathy without letting them take advantage of you. It's also important to remember that you're not responsible for fixing other people's problems. While it's kind to offer support, you can't let someone's victim narrative control your decisions or emotions. Playing the victim is a manipulative tactic that relies on your compassion. By staying mindful and setting boundaries, you can protect yourself from being used. Trick 10. Divide and conquer. The final psychological trick we'll explore is the classic divide and conquer strategy. This tactic involves creating divisions between people to weaken their unity and make them easier to control. Manipulators use this trick to isolate you, break down support systems, and ensure that they remain in a position of power. This tactic often shows up in families, workplaces, or social groups. For example, a manipulative parent might pit siblings against each other by showing favoritism or spreading lies. They might tell one child, "Your sibling never helps around the house like you do," while telling the other, "Your sibling thinks they're better than you." This creates tension and rivalry, keeping the siblings focused on each other rather than on the parent's manipulative behavior. In workplaces, a boss might create competition among employees by assigning conflicting tasks or spreading rumors. This keeps employees distracted and less likely to collaborate, making it easier for the boss to maintain control. Divide and conquer works because it creates confusion and distrust. When people are divided, they're less likely to work together or see the manipulator's actions for what they truly are. To counter this tactic, it's crucial to build open and honest communication with others. If you suspect someone is trying to divide a group, talk directly to the people involved. For instance, if a manipulative coworker spreads rumors about you, Address the issue calmly with your colleagues. I've heard some things being said about me, and I want to clear the air. Let's make sure we're all on the same page. It's also important to stay united with the people you trust. Manipulators thrive on division, so the stronger your connections are with others, the less power they have. If you notice someone trying to create drama or tension, call it out for what it is, an attempt to divide and control. Lastly, don't let the manipulator dictate how you see others. Make your own judgments based on direct interactions, not on hearsay or rumors. Divide and conquer is a powerful tool for manipulation, but with awareness and strong communication, you can stop it from tearing you apart from those you care about. Each of these tactics is dangerous on its own, but they're often used together to create even greater manipulation. Now that you know how they work, you're better equipped to recognize and resist them. In conclusion, understanding these 10 psychological tricks equips you to recognize and resist manipulation in your life. By staying aware, setting boundaries, and reinforcing your self-worth, you can protect yourself from toxic control and maintain your peace. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who might need this knowledge and save them from manipulations. Don't forget to subscribe for more empowering content and insights to help you navigate life with confidence. Stay strong and stay informed. Let's all be wiser today.